Genesis chapter 2 verses 21 and 22. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof, and the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. You'll have heard the expression sleeping on it. Faced with a problem and not quite knowing how to figure it out, what to do or which option to take, some of the best advice could be just to have a good night's rest and tackle it again in the morning. I cannot resist the urge to say, after a night's sleep, it will dawn on you. No doubt Adam slept well, but what an awakening he must have had. What strikes me most about this passage is that after Adam had named the animals, he was not asked to do anything else. It was left entirely to God. And we read at the end of verse 22 that God brought her unto the man. Now, I know that things were different at the beginning. If in no other way, at the very least, Adam was on his own. There was no one else about, much less a woman. But I strongly believe that there is a principle here. In the West, we have put a huge store on individual choice and personal preference, and we apply that to marriage as much as to anything else. However, if we were only to leave more of the arranging to God and depend more on him, we might have a better basis upon which to marry. The story of getting a bride for Isaac that we read in chapter 24 of Genesis is a classic example of what we have here. I being in the way, the Lord led me, verse 27 of that chapter. I wonder what kind of a woman Adam would have come up with had it been left to him. I think that it is wonderful that the Lord God made a woman, verse 22. The Creator, with a knowledge of Adam's needs which could not be surpassed, would know exactly what was needed. Do you think that he might know what you need? Maybe even better than you know yourself. There are real risks in the hit and miss approach that has become so commonplace in the world, and maybe even among Christians. So let us learn the lesson of dependence on God and God's guidance that we have in this chapter. Now it is imperative that we notice that the Lord God took one of his ribs, verse 21. A lot of quaint sayings have come out of this, but it is important to understand the significance of it. In chapter 1 we read, male and female created he them, and God blessed them, verses 27 and 28. The rib underlines to me the equal dignity of male and female, side by side. Something that Paul brings out in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, where he wrote, as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman. Each is dependent on the other. If only we could understand how much we do need each other. And that's a principle that applies more widely than just between husbands and wives. Although we read previously that Adam named the animals, we don't actually have a record of what he said. Tomorrow, as we finish this chapter, we'll read his first recorded words. They were words spoken about his wife, and he spoke very appropriately about her too.